Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books. For my June wrap up, I did read a total of 22 books this month, which is not too shabby. It is my first month of summer, so I am a teacher if you didn't know, and I have summer off, so I did end up going to Europe for a week, but I brought my Kindle with me. It was super long plane rides, we had train rides, so I did read like 3 or 4 books while I was gone, so I kept up on my reading, and I've been a reading machine the past couple weeks since I've been home, so I will go ahead and get to these books. It's going to be a long one, so I'm not going to spend too much time on each book, but we'll just get to it. The first book I listened to on audio was Blood Kiss by J.R. Ward. This was actually a reread because I read this before I started the entire Black Dagger Brotherhood book, so it's been 17 books in the series since I read this. This is the first book in the spin-off. I did read it after reading all 17. You should read it like intertwined. There's a reading order. I didn't. I think I was fine. This follows Paradise and her relationship with someone in the Legacy training program. So they are vampires training under the Black Dagger Brotherhood. So like Butch is there, Vicious is there. It's really fun and I loved it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Love the romance, the audio, the narrator is just like the best for these books, and so I loved it. Okay, so the next few I read are going to be from the romance read-a-thon that happened that Riley from Riley Marie and Lainey from Ginger Lainey Reads hosted. So I've linked my vlog down below where I talked about these, but the first book I read was The Fallen Genesis by Tilly Cole. This is a novella actually, and so it is a prequel kind of to her new series, which I haven't read yet. Raphael came out. I just have to go ahead and order that paperback because I'm gonna love it. I know that because I loved this novella. It's setting up the novel, so there's no romance in here. You don't even know any of the love interests are because it's all about the guys that the books are going to be about, and I think there are 7 of them. Maybe there's 8 or 7. They're named after the fallen angels, and so Raphael is the first one, and they are, I don't want to spoil anything, you just have to read it. It's really dark. He is with a group of boys, and one of them's his brother. And that's all I really want to say. Like I said, it's really, really dark. They're at like this Catholic orphanage. I don't know how to explain it, but it was so good, and I like really need to read the rest of the series. Like now, even though there's only 1 book out, I'm gonna love it, and I'm so excited. But I definitely, you have to read this before reading those, I believe, but you have to read this because it's so good. The next book I picked up was Medicine Man by Saffron Kent. This one, I think a lot of you will be happy I read because every month on Pick What I Read Next, someone recommends this. This is about a girl who's in a mental institution because she tried to kill herself, and so her mother decided that she had to go to this place for like 6 weeks, I think, and she makes friends there. It's very interesting, and then there's a new doctor that comes in that she's kind of infatuated with, and he's very young, and it's their romance, and so I really enjoyed it. I do not myself suffer from depression, so I don't know if it's a very realistic or good representation of depression. I thought it was from my own experience, though I don't have a lot of personal experience with it, but I really enjoyed this. The romance was definitely taboo, and they both tried to stop it, but they couldn't. I will say once they like gave in to their physical desires, that's all this book was for like 30%, and I was like, are we gonna get any more substance to the book? So, but I think that's what happens with Saffron's books that I've read so far. There's a lot of like the physical side of the relationship, and I think it could be better balanced, but keep it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Going on theme here, the next one I read was Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe. This is also a psychiatrist patient romance, but this one's with a serial killer, and he where do I start? So she is constantly doing like evaluations and like programs with inmates and like killers like that, and so she like figures them out, tries to see if they can change or not, always has to go on stand at like trials to see if they're going to be on death row or not, and so he's up for death row, and she is supposed to like figure him out and then go and talk in court, and they fall in love, and he is so crazy. Like reads her so well. He doesn't act crazy. He like is just so smart but so mentally insane. I don't know how to like say, I don't know how to explain him, but it was so good, and it reminds me of like those psychological thrillers I really love, like Seven. I love that movie, like whoo. And so this one has that and it was so good, and I definitely need to read book 2. I already ordered it because this is a duet. Oh, that ending and the romance, even though it's taboo, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. So I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read a Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. This is my first book by her, even though this is book 3 in the series, and this is about a girl going to a wedding of her cousin, I think, and their royalty somehow, and she's dealing with the repercussion of the fact that her father tried to kill the royalty. and her father's in jail now, and she was really lied to her whole life, and so she's got insecurities about that. And the prince in this situation is like the bad boy prince, and like the tabloids love him and he does bad things, and he's in the wedding party too, and they start kind of liking each other, and then they decide to fake date, and the relationship goes from there, and it's super cute. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really did like dealing with the prince's brother and what happened there, and the romance was really sweet. It was just a sweet book. The next book I read was Blood Vow by J.R. Ward. This is book 2 in the Legacy spinoff, and I listened to this on audio and gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it as much as book 1, but I still really enjoyed it. It's Axe's story, and he is another one of the trainees in the Legacy program, and he sort of starts something up with this other girl from the Glymera, which is like the upper society of the vampires, which is what Paradise was for book 1, and she's trying to figure out and understand what happened to her cousin, who died in the first book, which was a whole mystery that happened in the first book. So this was really, really good. Again, audios are amazing. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was On the Rocks by Candy Steiner. I did get an e-arc of this, so I read it before it came out, and then immediately ordered myself a paperback when it came out. I love Candy's books. This one's an age gap taboo romance. She is 18. He is 27, I believe. Like a later 20s, and he works at a whiskey distillery as a barrel maker, and she is a politician's daughter, and she is just finished her first year of college and is engaged to a politician. So she's kind of like born and bred to be the dutiful wife, and so she was okay with that. And then the guy that she meets buying a whiskey barrel for her fiance kind of makes her question everything, and if she's really willing to put her whole entire life on hold for this guy and never be able to have her own aspirations. And so it's really good, really taboo. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Sweet small town romance too, which I loved. I did a whole video of my favorite small town romances about this, so I'll link that down below. It was really good. Then I finally read Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, and this book is a post-apocalyptic book with pestilence, which is disease. The 4 horsemen have come to the world to destroy it, and pestilence has been going across North America, spreading disease. And our main character, she is a firefighter, and the beginning is her drawing sticks. She gets a short straw, so she has to kill pestilence. So she does, and guess what? He can't die. So he takes her as his prisoner. They fall in love. It's so good. I love post-apocalyptic stories. I don't know why. Praying for Rain by B.E.B. Easton I read this year too, and I was just like obsessed with it, and I want more. So if you have good post-apocalyptic, pre-apocalyptic survival kind of romances, let me know, because this was so good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. War is coming out soon, and I cannot wait. Okay, so the next bunch of books are the ones that I read while I was on vacation. So they're a bunch of ebooks, and the first one I picked up was 6 of Hearts by L.H. Causeway because someone told me it takes place in Dublin, Ireland, and that was the first stop on my vacation, so I read this on the plane on the way there. Oh boy, do not do an overnight flight in a middle seat. I was so uncomfortable and slept maybe 2 hours that night. I did not have a nice flight there, but this is about a girl who works for her dad, and he's a lawyer, and this guy shows up and he says, I need a lawyer to represent me because someone's trying to ruin my reputation, and he is being attacked for killing someone. Like, he did a trick and the man died of a heart attack and they blame him, and so he asks for her dad to be the one to represent him, even though that's not really what he does. And so he ends up actually moving into their spare room, and she is just totally intrigued by him, and it's their romance, and I really enjoy this. I see why a lot of people love it because of the twists and turns this book took. He is a magician, so I really love that. It kind of reminded me of like Now You See Me kind of stuff. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I didn't think it was like super special or anything, and I wasn't like blown away by the ending, but I thought it was entertaining. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I finally read The Silver Swan by Amo Jones, and I don't know if I'm just over the whole knew it all in high school of people who get away with anything and do whatever they want with a group of boys that rule a school, because I couldn't care less for this book. I was rolling my eyes most of the time. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Let me know if you really want a full in-depth review, because the girls were so annoying and obnoxious in this book. Like, she got a new stepbrother, and so he, of course, had his whole group of friends that ruled everything, and she's really intrigued by the bad boy of the group, like the worst guy. But then she, like, makes out with 3 different guys in the group, even though she, like, more liked this one guy, and then every other girl, though, that tried to get with the guys, they, like, legitimately called them a slut, and I was just, like, you're doing the same thing as them, but it's wrong when they're doing it because you feel like you belong more. I don't know. That was annoying. And then obviously no parental figures whatsoever in this book. They get away with whatever they want to. They start being more physical with each other, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she like loves him kind of thing, and I'm just like, this does not make sense at all. 2 out of 5 stars. Didn't enjoy this. Let me know if there's another Ammo Jones book you think I would enjoy if I didn't enjoy this one. The next book I read was Lock and Key by Kat Porter. This is a motorcycle romance, and I was so shocked with this because when you start it, our main character is actually in her 40s, which you don't get a lot in the romance genre of indie publishing, at least in my experience. And she has to come back into town because something's going on with her sister, and she has a one-night stand with a guy and realizes he's part of the motorcycle club she has a past with. And so we actually get a dual timeline of her then flashing back to the past and how she got involved with the club, and then in the present when she gets re-involved with the club and her romance with this guy when there's a whole lot of drama going on. I really enjoyed it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it did slow down a little bit near the end for me, and so I found it a little hard to pay attention, but I think it was because I had so much going on around me because I read this on the train ride to London from Edinburgh, Scotland, and that was a very long train ride, and so I just think it was situational, but I still really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. I loved the dual timeline. I didn't even care that she was in her 40s. I typically don't like to read about older main characters because I am younger. I like to read more my age, nothing against older people, but I really enjoyed it. It was definitely unique. I haven't read a motorcycle romance like that, and I really enjoyed the dual timeline, so 4 out of 5 stars. Then I got an e-arc of 9 by T.M. Fraser. This is book 9 in the series, and I have only read books 1, 2, and 3, and 8, and now 9. I kind of skipped over the second book of Bears and Preppies just because I've had a chance to review them, but I will go back and read them, I promise. This is actually Preppy's brother, and so it is his romance with a girl who has been dating the wrong guy, and so he kind of turned on the motorcycle club, so they're turning to her to see what he did, and she had no idea, but everybody thinks she's guilty, and so 9 kind of takes her under his wing and protects her, even though he shouldn't be as protective as he is because he's starting to like her. I really like this. Typical T.M. Fraser, there is a lot of violence and some twists and turns that she's known for. So there's like always these big reveals that I kind of see coming. It happened in the previous book too and in her other series, so I wasn't really surprised when there was that big twist, and it was a little slow at times, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's still a great addition to the series, but it wasn't my favorite in the series. Then I got an e-arc of Bad Influence by Charlie Rose, and this is book 3 in the series, so it can be read as a standalone. It's Jesse's story, and he is the brother of the girl from book 2, and we see a lot of the girl from book 2 and her boyfriend, and Jesse is a college lacrosse player, and he is dealing with some issues about not feeling good enough and stuff like that, especially because his sister kind of gave up everything for him to be able to go to college, so he feels a lot of pressure, and he sees this girl in the diner his sister owns, and she's having some issues with her own life, with her father passing away and her mother being like remarrying, living in like Hawaii or something, and she doesn't really know what she wants to do with her life. She just knows she wants to do music like she did with her dad, and it's their romance, and it was good. I don't know, I wanted more out of it. It was kind of slow. I don't know, and Jesse kind of got like annoying with how much he was going throughout the book. It was still a good book. I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I just really wanted more angst than what we got. Then I read an arc of Justified by Jay Crownover. This is a small town romance with a sheriff and with a lawyer who has not gotten along with him ever since he divorced his wife, and she kind of took him for everything he had, especially with his son, and so he has hated her ever since then, but her office just got broken into and someone's trying to kill her, so he has to help her and she has to go stay with him because no one would think they were staying with each other because they hate each other's guts very publicly, and it's their romance. Very cute small town romance, and it has a lot of suspense and action in it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It was just a good, fun, small town, mystery, action-y romance, so I would say pick it up, and I cannot wait for the next book in the series. Then I finally got around to reading book 3 in the Perversion series by T.M. Fraser, and that is Permission. And I actually got the first 2 as an e-arc, and then I missed the sign up for book 3 somehow, so I never finished the series. This one is, like I said, book 3, and it is between 2 people who met in foster care and then kind of get thrown into the whole gang life and reconnecting after losing touch with each other. And this is book 3, like I said. The first 2 I think I gave either 4 or 3 stars. This one kind of got a little too all over the place, and like I said about T.M. Fraser, she likes to like throw in really bizarre twists that I know are coming because that's what she does now, and so it kind of got too much, and like they ended up going to Dublin for some reason and going to a castle. I don't know. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't like really that great, but it was still entertaining. And I wasn't a huge fan of the audio though. Like the narrators weren't that great. Next, I read an e-arc of Superfan by Serena Bowen. There was just like 5 books that came out within like 2 weeks in June, and I was scrambling to read all the arcs I signed up for, and this one is book 3 in the Brooklyn series, but technically book 6 in like the whole series because she traditionally published the first 3 and Indy published the next 3. This one is about a hockey player who has always loved this country singer, and his friends always make fun of him for it, and they actually have a past. They met before she got huge and kind of had a flirtation, but nothing ever happened, and so he tweets her because she's at a hockey game, and he says, go on a date with me if the team wins, and so they're kind of reconnected that way, and it's super fun and adorable. I read this for Romanceopoly for the Subway, I think, for the Rockstar romance, and she's super big now, and he is a professional goalie for the team, and I really liked it. I will say I kind of wish there was more like build up to their relationship when they reconnected, because it was kind of like they met and then like jumped right into the physical stuff, and I was like, you just met after 3 years, like talk to each other first. But it was really cute. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I did a 24-hour reading vlog, which I'll link down below. And the first book I read in that was These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. I was sent this from Penguin, and this was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is YA, it is witchy, it is a female-female romance, and our main character is trying to get over a breakup with her ex-girlfriend because they are witches, and there was some drama that's going down. They are elemental witches, and there was something with a blood witch, which is like terrifying to them. They are terrified of blood witches. They are evil, and they can really control you by using your blood, and so they had a really messy breakup, and her girlfriend keeps on trying to get back with her, and then there's this new girl in town that her best friend wants her to start dating and see because they dance together, and so she's trying to date someone else, and then they think a blood witch is in town, so they have to figure out if there is one, who it could be, while hiding their magic from everybody. Her best friend's a reg, which is like a muggle, so they're people who don't have magic, and so she has to hide it from her and hide it from everyone. This was so good. I loved all the magic. It reminded me of like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I loved when I was growing up, and so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I love the friendships, I love the romance, I loved everything about this book, and there's not a lot of people who like it. I don't know why. I loved it, and so yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It was definitely very witchy, and I cannot wait for book 2. Then I picked up finally The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. This has been on like 5 different TBRs in 5 different months. This is about Carlos, who witnesses someone dumping their boyfriend during a proposal at a baseball game, and our main character, she is proposed to by her boyfriend of a couple months. She's not really into him. They just like hang out, and he proposes and says he loves her and spells her name wrong, and she's just like, no. But no one knows that story. They just know she denied her boyfriend in the middle of a baseball game. That was on the Jumbotron and then got on SportsCenter and everything like that. Carlos and his sister save her, and then her and Carlos end up meeting up again, and it's their romance, and I enjoyed it, but I was annoyed how the romance, they like didn't know if they liked each other or not, and like really liked each other but didn't know how to tell each other, and if they thought they were serious or not. And then once they started kind of like casually dating, both of them were like, wait, but I don't want a serious relationship. I'm not in that place. Do they think I'm serious? I don't know. Is this too relationship-y? I don't know. Both of them were like that, and so it was really annoying. I don't know why they tried so hard to get together and then like didn't want to be together. It was just kind of annoying that way, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really cute romance, pretty slow burn. They don't really like get into any relationship until like 100 pages in, so keep that in mind. I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a fun romance. The next book I read, I have a video going out that has to do with this, and that is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I listened to the audio, and this is a alien sci-fi romance. These girls are all 22 and abducted by aliens, and then something goes wrong with the ship, so they're all dumped on this planet, and the aliens leave, and they know they're coming back, so they go out to like try to see if there's anything there to help them, and our main character Georgia runs into a barbarian on the planet, and it's their romance. It's so fun. I really enjoyed it. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to the audio. I listened to book 2, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and I'm on book 3, so I can't put them down. They are really fun because they like resonate with someone, so that means that they mate with them, and that's their like chosen mate, so they can't say no. It's like a fated mates kind of book, and it's really fun, and the humans are like, well, I guess we have to mate with these aliens, and like they're very alpha alien, male, my woman kind of thing, but they're really fun. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. 3 books left. We're almost done, but the next book I read was Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. This is book 1 in the Fallen Men series. I love this. We did my live show on this channel with my friend Lacey from Book Lovers for Life and Sarah from Bros with Sarah. I will link the live show down below. This was my reread. I originally gave it 4 stars because I wanted a really good MC book, and that's not what this was. It's definitely more romance heavy, and then the last like 30% is MC. Upon reread, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I'm obsessed with King and Cress. It's a student-teacher romance. That's not okay in real life, okay? But like in fiction, it can happen. So I loved it. King is just has such a gentle soul, and he's so poetic and just like wants his woman. And Cress just wants to live, and they change each other's lives, and it's so good. And there's a little bit of MC thrown in there at the end because King's dad is a president. King is not actually in the MC club yet, and so it's so good. And everybody's excited for book 2, which is going to be our book for July, and our live show I think is on the 27th. I'll link all the information down below. It's going to be on a Saturday at 9 p.m. EST, so read book 2 and come join the live show. It's gonna be so fun. I love this. I even ended up making myself a shirt that says the Fallen MC, and then it says Garrow on the back, both for King and for Zeus, because it is father and son, and I love them both equally. And it is Zeus's book in the next book, but I love this series so much that I used my Cricut and made myself a t-shirt. So I'm a little bit obsessed, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars this time. Then I went ahead and listened to Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. This is book 2 in the series. This is Liz's story. Liz is hilarious. She's very, she likes to hunt, and she's very headstrong, so she doesn't like a man pushing her around, and her love interest is a scarred hero, so he has scars on his face and missing part of his horns because they have horns and tails, and he's very angry, and they resonate with each other, and so he kind of kidnaps her, and it's their romance. I gave this 4 to 5 stars. It's like a really high 4 though, because the ending's pacing I feel like it was a little weird to me, because I was looking at my audio and I was like, how do I only have 10 minutes left of this book? There's a lot that's got to happen. It just kind of ended, so like 4.5 out of 5. It was still really entertaining. You should check out the series. And the last book I just finished this morning, but it's currently the 1st of July, but that's okay. I read Say No to the Duke by Eloisa James. This is book 4 in the Wild series, but this is the first one I'm reading. I didn't read 1 or 2 yet. I have all 3 though. This is about Betsy and her, I don't know how to pronounce her real name. It's like Boadicea. I don't know how to pronounce that. I should look it up. But she is definitely very headstrong, and she is very aware of her reputation. Her mother left her father for an affair, and so she is trying to show everybody that she is a woman who is respectful, and ends up going into her season, and she's determined to get as many proposals as she can, and she does, because everyone sees her as this proper and prim lady like she wants them to, except for Lord Jeremy, who knows the real her and can see the real her, and he gives her an ultimatum at a game of billiards, which she's very good at and loves, is that if he wins, she spends the night with him, and if she wins, he takes her to an auction that is all male, as she's dressed as a male, so she can see what it's like to have the freedom of a male. It's super fun, but a duke has proposed to her, and she's tempted to say yes, and Jeremy says, say no to the duke. So it's a very fun romance, though. I gave it 4 to 5 stars because, like I said, they had that bet, but then they didn't actually like fulfill that bet until like 150 pages later, and then we still had another like 80 pages, and I'm like, what's gonna happen? So it was a little bit slow near the end. It's more like a 3.75 because like I was dragging at the end, but still really fun historical romance, and I can't wait to read it the rest of the series. Well, thank you so much for staying along with this super long wrap up. I am like sweating now. It's hot outside, and the upstairs does not get as good circulation as the downstairs with the air conditioning, so I'm glad you stuck around. Let me know down below what was your favorite this month, or what you were excited for me to read. I would love to hear it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.